Alright, it is okay here, and hopefully you're hearing me loud and clear. It's 4 a.m. here, and this is game 3 of 264brocc against burpcow. Unfortunately, the game scores are just a little bit too low below the board to be able to easily include them without making the board a lot smaller because of the gap between the board and the scores. But historically, before this match, 264brocc was down 7-10 to burpcow. But games 1 and 2 have gone to 264brocc, and this is game 3. And just to catch up with the live action, 264brocc is black. It's playing a London system as black. Looks very solid. Bishop g6. Looking for a trade of bishops by the looks of it. So that's provoking f6. If you took with the pawn, that sometimes, yeah, but f6 was not played, and in these sorts of situations often the best move is just to go bishop takes g7. So quickly takes, places the knight, f4. Ooh, so he's sacking a whole piece for a pawn. That feels excessive. So is the center collapsing? The queen is just holding on for now. Okay, so pawn at h3, what's the idea? If you take it, we only have a pawn in... Okay, I don't get it, so just takes. There was no clear idea. Dynamic play, for sure. Okay, 2 pawns for the queen. Two pawns and a knight for the queen. That's actually quite a good deal, so... So, what I'd say, everything, this is being asked for, and indeed it's played. Ah, and I missed this. I missed this move. Okay, so little tricks, and at the end of the day, I don't think both sides have necessarily played the best moves, but at the end of the day, 264brocc is coming out on top in this position. So he's just bringing the king out to g2 because white's going to need another tempo to defend that king. So black is now very, very comfortable. In terms of material, maybe a piece down, but the weakness. Oh, he's now just got back the piece. So, wow. Yeah. So I'm gonna go just have a quick look at games 1 and 2. Without. Oh, unfortunately, I don't like the fact that it's showing inaccuracies because it's already analysed the games. So I'm going to just sort of, but I don't want to skip the opening either. So just want to quickly show games 1 and 2. It was a Scandi. What happened here? There's an attack here. There's a threat here. Counter threat here. Please ignore the lichess. Maybe I should. Okay. So there's a trade of queens. Whose king is safer? Whenever there's a trade of queens, you have to think whose king is safer. Takes, queen on. The knight is protecting the mate, so he takes off the knight, but the knight could just take back, in theory. But let me think. Is there something more forcing here? Apparently, queen takes c2 is even leading to mate here. So white has a mate, but takes back the knight. Oh, yeah, I didn't realize this. This is Yeah. Okay, so this is still defending fine. Takes, takes. Okay, so black is actually under some threat here, but white apparently didn't find the mate, and um, suddenly black got mate. So okay, looked like a very sharp game one. I'm not sure if I added much value to that. Okay, game two is a London system. Um, Lots of pressure along this diagonal, but it's very well defended. Okay, so takes here, takes. Oh, okay, this is a mistake, obviously. You take this knight and get this in, suddenly white's winning, and I imagine now he converts. Lots of pressure on these light squares, and yeah, this attack's going to be too strong, and very beautiful. Queen behind the king, cutting it off, and then finishes the game off. Okay, so that was not really very valuable, possibly for some people, but just to give a sense of the first two games. Okay, game four. Let's get back to the live action. We have this strange thing again, but it has a sense. Maybe he's afraid of a sack on d4. Castles, castles, and bishop here, and the threat is some kind of takes and takes in some order, and he doesn't defend it. So we're going to see it happen. Takes and takes, and knight takes g3 was a mate threat. Takes, rook takes, knight takes comes, and it's black to play. Okay, so we're up to the live action. And just to say, historically now, it's 6-6 between these two players. Oh, he didn't want to give away the rook. Interesting, because, yeah, if you just give away the rook, takes, queen takes, pawn lands here, and your back rank is weak. So it does look like burpcow is taking, or does it? Hang on a second. Maybe this is good defense. Yeah, I think it's looking extremely hairy. This game. You can't even just run it here because pawn here or bishop here. The king is kind of trapped from running back, so it can't run back to the king side, and it can't run. There's no future here because this square is cut off. I mean, rook here it's just running into difficulties. Maybe rook here is not the answer, but let me think. What black really wants is some kind of, let me think. He wants to push the king back here and get a rook on the back rank, something like this. It looks like he needs another piece. So does this work is the question, something like this. Takes, rook here, and pawn here. So that sort of idea. Okay, it doesn't quite work because the knight would take it, but these sorts of, yeah. Okay, so good defensive move from 264brocc. Just hanging on in there. And hi there, Seaflower. Is there a 30-second delay or a 15-second delay? So basically, I don't have delay, apart from the natural Twitch delay, because I don't think either of these players would get any benefit from my commentary. So what I'm going to be saying in this commentary is, and in my commentary, I usually explain the moves that the players have already done. I do sometimes give my own ideas, but I don't think it's something that the candidates would find valuable. So normal default delay from where just for the message to go from my computer to Twitch in America to wherever you are. Yeah. So it does look like See, it does look like 264brocc is hanging on in there. But for how long? If you go here, the problem is any pawn, any loss, but can he take a pawn though? There's no pawn on offer, so this is actually quite neat. No pawns available. So he just grabs a knight, but we can just take it back. And does white have any counter threats? Okay, he did that. Yeah, I see this now. If takes back, knight at h3 was the problem, which is why he had to defend. They're very smart here. Knight at h3 is the problem. So here the problem is rook at is causing difficulties because you take, queen takes is checkmate. So you have to always defend the direct mate threat. So the reason he didn't just take back is because knight at takes and rook at g2 was, I think, mating. Or possibly mating. At least it was concerning. Okay, so he had to defend this, so now this has come. And now that's bad because the diagonal is landing here, so he has to now defend with 13 seconds on the clock against 3. So he has to try and use the time, but that's the key square he has to defend with only a pawn in hand. So maybe just drop a pawn here. He hasn't defended this, so it's all over. Yeah. So burpcow takes game 4. Okay. Cflar says he should have taken the bishop in the last game. So he's played this sort of Scandi, putting the queen here, pressure on here. Just taking a quick look at the last game, he was scared of knight at h3, so in this position here, it's if you take the bishop, knight at a3, if you take here, this is what I was worried about, yeah, rook b2, king here, queen c3, this is pinned, block, rook takes c2, and if you take, this is checkmate, so you sidestep, so this is checkmate. That was the problem that he was facing. And if you sidestep, I hadn't analysed this, then apparently rook at c3 is the problem, with the idea of takes, and the same checkmate. So you can't take, so you have to block, but then you can go rook takes c2, takes, and it's all over. So that was the reason why he didn't take the bishop. Okay, back to this game. I don't think we've missed anything. So, but just to play it from the beginning. So Scandi, you hide the king over on this side of the board. If it's harassed too much, you hide it on this side of the board. If it's harassed far too much, you're always happy to give it away for a piece to keep some initiative. So just developing. You've given away your bad bishop. That's good. Takes. So this is looking pretty decent for black, and we're up to the live action. So hi there, happy Petal. So 264brocc, stands for broccoli, and on Discord he goes by the name of Cabbage. So this is the FM. He's new in 2021, but has been doing very well in the Crazyhouse World Championship. Become a candidate, and within the candidates, obviously, it's a tough competition. He's also a streamer. So who is Cabbage? I think the best thing I can do with you guys is I can give you the command. He's become a streamer on Twitch and on YouTube. Obviously, the main streamer of the candidates has been Ganez. So giving you lots of Ganez is the new Crazyhouse streamer. He's been streaming almost all the candidates. But Cabbage has also been streaming some, so go follow their Twitch and their YouTube. And he was actually streaming his own match. It's not yet on YouTube, but it's on Twitch. Cabbage was streaming his own match against Marioton just yesterday, but that wasn't necessarily a wise thing to do, to stream your own match, especially because I told him I was going to stream it myself, so I was also streaming it. So he actually went down 4-6 against Marioton. Marioton is tough, and streaming and playing probably doesn't help. But hopefully that's, yeah. So it's really nice for the viewer to be able to see it, but maybe wasn't ideal as a player to stream his own match, because he wasn't just doing the stream of showing his point of view. He was even explaining his thoughts and everything. So I really recommend check out Cabbage's latest stream. Like bookmark that for when you have a free moment, if you want to see his perspective of that last game. And just to say also, I obviously have a YouTube, and that has playlists of all of the streams from everyone. But sorry, I've distracted a little bit from the live action. He was trying to distract the knight with that check to try and get in bishop takes g2. No, not bishop takes g2. Knight check and queen mate. So the knight could not be taken. The knight was untouchable because of the knight h3 smother mate ideas, or if you take it, queen at g2 mate. Hopefully that was clear. Correct. Atoms of Faith. Cabbage is 264brocc. That's what I was saying. So he doesn't want knight takes pawn check, because actually I'm slightly worried about this black king. But having said that, if black can break through g2, then bishop at g2 and this building collapses. King takes, knight here, queen at g2. Having said that, he could still run a little bit, so it's not entirely clear. But I think it's fair to say white is not winning this if g2 opens. So he has to somehow defend this diagonal. Okay, he does it like this. That's a good move. Very good move. I didn't notice when was that hanging, but okay. White doesn't have enough material. So it just resigns. Okay, so 4-1 to Cabbage. 4-1 to 264brocc. So we're going to get a bit of a... We get lots of Londons and lots of Scandies by the looks of things. Interestingly, in chess, you always take towards the center. In Crazyhouse, sometimes it's actually tempting to take the other way, just to open up the rook, because f6 is a nice target. The only reason not to take the other way is if you're a little bit worried that, if it's back up a second, if he had taken the other way, it does make e3 a little bit weak, and the bishop would land on h6, targeting this square. And you can't sort of put a bishop in the way because of, well, you can put a bishop in the way. Probably that would be the thing to do. Takes. This becomes a little bit sensitive, the d4 pawn. But this is, so I say, as long as your position is holding, f takes is much more the way to go in this position. But sometimes you're going to be concerned about e3. So h takes is just really staying solid. It's much less aggressive. So whenever there's pressure, you have to counter it. Whenever there's a channel, these two bishops are trying to take control of this channel. So you have to respond to that. And he's responding again with trying to take out one of those bishops with his knight. That's what that move basically does. I'm going to just take out one of your bishops. PKR was suggesting queen takes h4. And GSVC, have you been watching too many Jan games? PKR, maybe. His videos are so entertaining. Yeah, so taking out that knight. I mean, it's a knight on the rims. So is it worth the queen? So it is worth the queen if there's something you want to do with that knight. So that's the sort of calculation you have to make. Is there something that knight, is there something useful you can do with that knight? And he does it. Okay, so we're going to see it now. Takes here. So he's not just, it's not just a piece. He's getting, looks like he's getting this pawn as well for the queen. But if he doesn't use that knight, then white is going to be using. If he's not doing something quickly, exactly, then look what white is doing. White is using those pieces and using that queen. So the threat is knight at h6 with a smothered mate, and if you take the bishop, knight at h6 and takes this bishop. So you're not losing material. And even just a simple move like bishop takes pawn is possible here. And actually looks quite good. Bishop takes pawn and put the pawn on g5 and say I'm up material. But okay, he's still going for this bishop because this is the one piece which is looking threateningly at white's king. Oh, but he can still just back off. Just take here and put a pawn on g5 next. And it looks promising, to be honest. But okay, this way works as well. If ever this, and he gets that rook looking at f6, which I think is quite good. So I guess the reason he didn't take here is he's maybe afraid of just this pawn pushing, and there'd be an attack on f2. So I think that was his concern. Let's see more of the chat. There it is. Jan played some queen to h4 like that when I played the fianchetto, and he left me with that f2, h2, h4 structure. f2, h2, h4, yes, which doesn't look great. Why not h5 to win g6? Yeah, I was expecting something like this, but was there ever an opportunity? Because here, and now at this point, if h5 takes the knight and we don't have time, and then the bishop could slide step here if it really wanted to. But okay, then you can push that pawn on from h5 to h6. So yeah, so maybe I got it in the wrong move. It was a bit earlier that PKR was suggesting h5. Okay, so this is very strong. This is just going to be forced to stop the mate, and then can we do something with that knight is the question. Oh, that's provocative. Okay, so he's getting a pawn, so he's going to take with check and put a pawn on g7 is the idea. That's a nice move, doesn't have to take the knight immediately. Okay, so pawn here and knight here at the end of it. At the end of the line looks like the threat. And it's even defended, which is that's really strong. So where's the finish? Oh, nice finish. I'll just keep that end position up for a second. The queen and the knight. The queen is covering the light squares. The knight covers the dark squares. Nice mate. So that move, knight at h4 was quite a deflecting the bishop from the g file was quite a neat little move. And it kept the king in a box because the knights on h4 and h5 meant that the f file was closed, so it had to be taken. It had to be taken, and then the queen lands on g7 with mate in 2. So very nice finish there. So PKR, I think the engine likes an early at e5. yeah, I was just wondering about this queen. So just to play from the beginning again. So it's a Scandi. The queen slides across, develops, e6, and the knights come swung back to harass that queen. So if the queen, for example, to go here, then pawn here is a queen trap. That's the problem. So queen swings across. Queen is getting harassed all over. There are also these ideas, just simply pawn here, yeah, pawn here, and this is falling. So white's picking up a piece for a pawn. But black's idea is that's okay. It keeps my king safe, and maybe put a rook on the g file. So we're going to see it. So he needs to defend f6 somehow. He does. I see we've got quite an audience now. It's built up with GSVC, Mugwort, Duvid, PKR, Lucas Schacht, Barry Boswick, GD Howard 88, and 16 people overall on Lichess, which is quite a good number for 4 in the morning. 4 in the morning UK time, 5 in the morning European time. And here on Twitch, Happy Petal and Seaflower and Atoms of Faith. So okay, so what was that last move? Knight here, adding on pressure on f6 and defends f6. Okay, so if white ever wants a check, he has a check, but it's just a check. The black king is very safe by the looks of things. So yeah, white wants to get in an attack on f6, but needs more material. And black has ideas of his own on f3, which are annoying. For now, it's under control because you have 1, 2, 3 defenders. But at the end of the line, you'll get a queen on f3. So it's still a. There could still be some ideas there. If there were more trades, it would still be. F3 is sensitive. That's what I'm basically trying to say. So d5, trying to blow open this d file. And also, if you take here is the idea. So what we're going to get is, I'm surprised. If I just back up, okay, I know some people hate me backing up, but I'm really surprised after this that there wasn't a this intermezzo, because you can't ignore this. You'd have to take it back, and then you can take here. But okay, he takes here straight away, and now this comes, takes, and so I feel like white got worse than he could have got, and takes here. So white's probably happy, but I just feel like he could have got even better. Crazy Atomic Newbie says, I don't get Crazyhouse. Fair enough. It takes some getting used to. So nice interference move. So that's basically an attack on that knight. As a king d8 was always the plan. And nice move with a pawn in hand. Yeah, there's no good place for that rook. The knight's cutting off the light squares. And the pawn is cutting off the dark squares. And that means you have to attack quickly. So bishop takes knight gives you temporary defense, but then it's just replaced. So can you do something with a pawn, 2 knights, and a bishop? And it seems difficult. This is creative. My feeling is it can't possibly work, but it's definitely creative. yeah, this is just going to be a grind, as black is going to get ground down here. Punishment, as Stupid says. Yeah, this is not going to work. So black just doesn't quite have enough to attack and has to defend, and he's just going to have his material slowly ground down. So another piece is getting lost here. Simply knight takes knight if there's nothing stronger. He goes for rook takes knight, more aggressive. Is there a mate? Because the queen covers the square. But maybe the plan is just to win the queen. Nope. The plan is not just to just trying to create some more luft for his king. Oh, and bishop here. Okay, that's very nice. Okay, that's very okay. I'm going to just leave that again. Leave that final position up for a second. So the two bishops supported by the two knights. That was quite pretty. Yeah, nicely done. A couple of really nice finishes from burpcow, and he's had to. The other, yeah, that one. Which was the other game, which was a nice finish. Oh yes, the last two games have actually been quite nice in terms of the mating sequences to finish. Okay, so this has been another. The difference here is black develops his knight to h6, which is creative, and then to f5, and Cabbage has gone for an h4 push in response. 12-12 historical score, but the important score as far as the candidates is that 264brocc is 5-2 up, and this is game 8 out of 10. Okay, pressure on d5, he defends with the pawn. So you have to, whenever you look at a Crazyhouse position, you have to think, what are the weak squares in this position? What are the entry points? And it looks like what white wants to do is he wants to open the d file, or he wants a pawn which he might put on d6. It looks like he's not really committed to where to put this king at the moment, because by pushing h4 he can't castle, because knight takes h4 comes. So the king for the moment, the white king, is stuck in the center. Okay, so these sort of sequences come a little bit fast sometimes. So because black didn't want to take, he had a choice either to move the knight, but there was no good square, or to push. But the push would still involve taking. So it looks like black chose, I'm just going to give up the knight. Oh, but I counterattack the bishop. So this would have supported a push if he wanted to ever push, but it's also attacking the bishop. Okay, he decided not to save the knight. Pushing is not relevant here. The point is he's defending with the counterattack. So defending with the counterattack and takes g2 next. That's the point. White could have tried to find a square for the bishop, but where he can't put it here. That would close the d file. Here doesn't look good either. Here, then this pawn would fall. So he decides to go straight for the counter. Sorry, straight to continue his own attack. Takes, and knight takes g2 is the problem with check. King here, but then the knight maybe would be hanging at the end of it, so that's why he decides to take back here. So I'm sorry, I can't keep up with the players. I had to go a little bit slower here. So here, check. The idea is what? If you take, you get a beautiful knight on g5, and another knight maybe landing on f7 next. He decides not to take. Still knight g5 probably comes with these sorts of ideas. Knight g5 does come, and all the while knight takes g2 was declined. It seemed maybe he thought the knight had no future. So yeah, and also remember the knight is doing defensive duty on e6. But he could have at some point just gone knight g2 and back again, but I guess he thought he didn't have time to do that. Okay, so white is really insisting on knight at e6 here. So he has two knights in hand. He can use one knight for a deflection and then the second knight to get this knight at e6 idea, which it makes a certain sense because takes, you would be getting that queen with check. So it is a problem that black has to deal with. Looks 1-0, says Turtle Crossroad. But maybe just push e6 and then it's not such a problem. I mean, the knight can't land on e6 if you push e6. Okay, or take. And then the problem with just pushing is knight at h7 was also possibly annoying. Although I can't see how you continue. So just pushing e6 didn't seem too terrible. But there's also a time issue. Okay, yeah, pushing e6 opened up these dark squares. So there are lots of problems. Okay, so what black's done looks pretty decent. He's got some nice counterplay. He's trying to clear away the attacking the pieces while also d2 is also weak. f3 all the while is also hanging. Okay, bishop takes. So he wants. There's a queen sack. Bishop takes. Queen takes. It's dangerous because takes is the idea. But so if you take this bishop, he wants queen takes bishop. Is the point? Okay, he's just trying to get the queen off his back. That's a nice little move. So now he can take the bishop. So black is doing well here. I mean, he's doing well. It means he's not sure he's winning, but it looks good. It looks good. And that's a very nice move. So picking up the queen, not with check. That's why he had to take, just so it didn't come with check. Oh, but it's coming with check now. And so if you see your queen, yeah, that's all over. So king here, knight there, and queen here, check. So it's coming with check, and it's all over. So there you go. Black comes back. Hi there, I am C Jebs. Nice to see you. PKR says maybe Cabbage played it too fast last game. Yeah, I just felt it wasn't quite as bad as people thought, but there were certainly weaknesses. Like you had a pawn on f7 which looked very threatening. You had dark squares a little bit weak. Unsound says I don't think black was ever in really big trouble last game. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's like trouble, but I think it wasn't as serious as it looked. But there probably was some very accurate way that white could have played to punish it. It's just Cabbage didn't find it. I don't think I found it, so yeah, unsound. Maybe white could have reacted to the weird opening battle. So there won't be any deep analysis, though, of openings and so on from me today. I agree with PKR as well. Not that bad, but it had to be good for white. But if you want to see some deep analysis I have done, again, just check out my YouTube for some catch-up streams I did on on matches which weren't covered by. So this was the threat. If you go greedy, you get into trouble. I did some catch-up streams on some of the matches which hadn't been covered by other streamers. So yeah, as I said earlier, the streamers everyone should go follow are Ganez and Cabbage. I'll just pop their links. They've been streaming all the Crazyhouse candidates so far, especially Ganez. He's been doing wonderful commentary. He's a top player. He's been a top Bughouse player back on Fix in the 1990s, and he's streaming Crazyhouse now. So it's wonderful to watch. But there were just 4 or 5, 6 matches I think which weren't covered by those players, and so I just did some catch-up streams over the last week, covering those matches actually in more depth. Not sort of thorough opening analysis, but at least looking at critical points in the games, missed mates, and yeah. There was a nice missed mate in 17 by Jan Lee in my last stream. When I was the stream was Marioton 264brocc, but at the end of it I had a quick look at the Jan Lee game against Dog Answer. It was a beautiful mate in 17 or so. But there are many variations and many variations of the missed mate. So okay, I do after analysis as well, but today it's just live coverage, which I'm probably not doing very well because I'm just getting distracted by telling you about things. And also because it's 4 AM here, but doing my best. So the last few moves, so the queen was getting harassed. It's found a home on e7, but that does mean this bishop is not developing anytime soon. But somehow he's still safe. This is the problem. You chase the knight away, and this is the one nice piece for black because it's in white's half of the board, and it's getting chased away. Except it's not, because he can do this. So the principled approach would be to take here, to take here, to take here. But maybe white figured that doesn't really look that great for him. So if that's not great, somehow I thought white would be good, but getting his knight to f4, and I'm suddenly not so sure. I'm suddenly not so sure at all, and this is looking really bad because there's a huge weakness on g2. White doesn't even have a pawn in hand to fix it. And it's true black doesn't have many pieces, but let's see what people are saying in the chat. Why did you take a 5-year Crazyhouse break, Unsound? Good question. Unsound. 2760 question mark there. Wow. Oh, so it's a check, picking up. Okay, this is a wild game. So how to so black actually doesn't have that much in hand and doesn't really know how to continue. I'm not sure what queen h4 does. Yeah, the queen is just getting chased around, I think. Maybe there's a plan. Ah, okay, so that's what it does. Suddenly I quite like black's position again. So okay, this is really bad. I'm sorry, guys. So why not sidestep? Because then you lose the queen. Okay, so he has to take it. Now he's losing the queen anyway, and he really wants a knight for here would obviously be nice, or a pawn for here. Okay, so we're up to the live action. So what did he do? He pushes, and he really wants to get this bishop open again if he possibly can. But okay, it's not happening yet. Takes. Yeah, there's too many defenders. 1, 2, 3. Oh, counter attack. I think that king just has to castle queenside just to get out of the way. And it does. Yep. Okay. Now queen at g8 was a mate threat. Do you have to put queen at h8 to defend? You do. And only 8 seconds to try and solve this. I think that's fine. There's no way white can protect that, right? Just chill. Just take it back. Oh, he didn't need to do that. He didn't need to do that. He could have chilled. That could have. Oh, I see. He couldn't chill because maybe if you chill, then a bishop lands on g8. So maybe he couldn't chill. So queen takes looks good. Queen takes looks good. Pawn here looks good. Pawn takes rook, bishop takes pawn, and can we? You can't ever take this bishop because knight takes comes with check. So do we have enough? The bishop's actually. Bishop is not defending because yeah, something like rook here check. Oh, that's very nice. Oh my goodness. Wow. Okay, that was beautiful from 264brocc. PKR says, if you look at Unsound's profile, he has one Crazyhouse game from 3 months ago, and before that it's been 5 years. Yeah, that's incredible. So who is Unsound? Is he a chess player or yeah? I guess nobody knows. Or a fixed bughouse player? Let's get him on Discord. Okay, so Cabbage has gone for this h4 push. He's provoked f6, so e6 becomes a little bit tender. I'm not sure about. Yeah, I guess he had to. But somehow this hasn't worked out for well for white because he hasn't got his pieces in position to to hit e6 for example. Yeah, I like this move actually. Knight g1 just the stakes. The problem with knight takes, I thought queen takes. The problem with knight takes, the bishop returns here, and you're even more tied up than you were before. Yeah, this has just gone real south for 264brocc. So he's doing well this series, 6-3 up. But it will be impressive if you can win this one because black's got a nice space advantage. There was a weak e6, but it's queen e7 at the right time. There's no. The point is white's problems are much larger, with d3 being just wide open. d3 being wide open, the push of the h-pawn has actually means that white doesn't really want a castle, and the king is just going. I mean, the knight comes here, king comes here, g3 might come. Okay, so g3 is very well defended for now, but might at some point become a target. h4 is a possible target. So just throw in a check and takes d5. Doesn't even do that. Just harassing the queen. Bishop takes knight, drawing the king up. But he decides to harass the rook first. Hi there, Happy Petal. The sound is a bit softer compared to other Twitch streams. Okay. I was messing. So why would that be? That's strange. Maybe I'm just a bit further from the microphone than I should be, so I just need to move the microphone just a little bit closer. Hopefully that's better. Or maybe I just claim it's an early morning stream, so I need to be a little bit softer. No, it's all good. Hopefully it sounds better. Like it was just maybe a microphone being far away, something like that. It looks like settings the same as normal, I think. David's already calling it. I don't think you can call it quite yet, but so it's not quite tipped into there is no return, as it were. It's not quite tipped into point of no return. The question is, do you want to give a knight? Oof, I think you do. I think you do want to give that knight. He doesn't. Okay, that's brave. I mean, he's basically saying, I'm going to take this and then come back and take this as well, and you don't have the right materials to defend. And you can't take a pawn quickly. So this is coming, maybe. Well, this is the aggressive move at least, but both defending but it'll open up a weakness is the only problem. So yeah, I think white's still in this actually. Sorry, this went too fast for me. What happened? Where did that pawn come from? He gave up a queen, and rook d1 people were saying. Okay, he gave up the queen. Okay, I see. Okay, I didn't see that coming. He gave up a whole queen for that pawn. And he got the queen back on the back rank. Interesting. So rook at d1 is a mate threat. And David is saying there was mate already with rook at d1, so I'll have to check that afterwards. Just move a knight. Either knight would do to here, and I'm not seeing anything, but I'm also equally I'm not seeing how black mates here, and I'm not sure black has enough material. But equally, if white is going to win, it's going to be a slow grind. So, oh, I see what the problem is. Yeah, this is a problem. The problem is rook takes knight and knight at c3, and that's a killer, losing the queen. So you have to just continue this attack. So rook at d1 is now a mate threat. Now he moves the king. And again, you can't really ever take, well, you can take the bishop, but you don't ever want to, because then black can just rip off a knight. So you want to continue your own mating attack as white, which is difficult because you don't have a knight. But yeah, maybe queen takes knight. Queen takes knight. Okay, yeah. Queen takes knight is sometimes interesting. Queen takes knight. Doesn't feel like it's quite enough yet. So you might go at f7 first. And queen takes knight might be a mate threat then. Yeah, I'll go at f7 and hope we're not mated. He just goes for it. He just goes. I'm going to go for it. It makes, yeah, maybe actually queen takes knight directly as mate. I'm actually. So now queen at h7 is a mate threat. Is he mated though? Bishop here, rook here. No. The king looks like it's running away. So much for 1-0. Rook takes f1. So the plan is just to rip that off and queen at h7. Is the plan? Okay, he's just drawing that king up the board. Yep, bishop here and queen here is checkmate, and he does that. Yeah, and if you step back, pawn here and queen here is mate. So a nice comeback win. PKR says, wow, black messed it up. Okay, so I didn't see where the mate was. So let's see the mate that people were referring to. I mean, clearly black was winning. Let's turn the engine on. But I didn't see a mate. So at this point I was thinking knight takes f3. And we see like knight takes f3 is the best move, and it's minus 19. And then engine actually now thinks deeper and prefers actually moving the king. But queen takes d5 strong. Okay. Takes, and people are seeing a mate here. Takes, not quite sure. So takes, what was the mate? Rook at e2 is apparently a mate in 7. But that's not very easy. So why can't I just take the rook? Because you just take back. And if we just take again, then it becomes very easy because of knight at c3 and rook at d1. But okay. And yeah. Okay, if we can't take back, then this is going to be very hard to defend. But was there an actual obvious mate? So queen takes knight turns out was correct. Going at f7 first, as I'd have done, is still fine. No. So both are completely losing. So even here, rook at d1 is strong. So even after queen takes knight, the point is you don't take the queen. So it's actually quite a subtle point. Because knight g6, you don't go king h7, otherwise knight takes rook is actually mating. You go king g8. Knight e7, king h8. What? It's at f7 is actually the move. Okay, so let's just wind this back. At f7 is the mating sequence. King 8. So the king is forced to h7 or you win the rook. Takes the rook, takes back, at g6, takes back, pawn here, little cookie crumb, rook out, and the point is if you take queen here, so you have to block. Takes. What's the plan now? Knight g3, takes, queen here, rook here, rook takes pawn. Obviously if bishop takes, just queen takes. So okay, so it's a very complicated mate which the engine is not seeing initially. That white had after, so it looks like queen takes knight is mating if you move the king, but the thing to do there apparently, which is why queen takes knight doesn't work, is rook at h6, which is why I was thinking go here, because if black does nothing, I think now queen takes knight works, but apparently it still doesn't work. Apparently black is still fine here. But I thought pawn takes queen, knight at g6 was mating. This is what I was thinking. But knight takes, rook takes. There's apparently nothing here. Well, and then the engine thinks a bit longer, and there's still nothing. So, yeah. Okay, so but giving up the bishop apparently was a mistake. So if you just go rook at h6, that's fine. But what was the correct approach? I think this is what Duvid was saying: was take the knight, and white doesn't have a direct mate threat. And the point is, if you just take the rook back, then is there something here? Again, there's no mate threat, so you could even do something very. You could probably just do something very simple, which is just bishop here. And if he takes it, rook here is checkmate, so he takes like this. And I was thinking here check, and you have to move somewhere and just pick up the queen. So that would have been a kind of a fairly nice approach, I think. And you don't even need to take the knight to do that. I think, yeah, you do. You need the knight. Yeah, so you need the knight for that little trick to work. So that's, I think, the approach black should have gone for. Instead, he did pawn takes bishop. The bishop isn't actually threatening anything. Oh, okay, yeah. So the threat here from white is takes and takes. So it's a mate in 2 threat. And Happy Petal says move 26 is mate in 5. Okay, so this is what I missed. Okay, so this must be what Duvid was saying. Rook at d1 at this point. Nice. So why can't we just block? Ah, of course, because this and this are both open. Oh, I see. You don't go at g2. Okay, this is brilliant. You don't go at g2 immediately. Yeah, okay. Interesting. And we block again. Takes. King takes. So it forces the king towards the corner. Rook here is checkmate. So, and if we block with the knight, same kind of thing. At g2, king g1. Oh, ouch. And the knight's not really helping at all, because that's checkmate. Yeah. Rook d1 before pawn at g2, as Happy Petal says. Yeah. So pawn at g2, you just do it instantly. You don't even think about it. But seal the king in, and then at g2. Yeah, nice one. Cool. So thanks. That was fun actually. That finish was fun. There were a couple of other finishes I thought were quite fun. So I'll just show you the. I mean, for those who are just joining at the end of the stream, I thought this was a fun little mate in 3 here. Let's turn the engine on. Bishop at c7, knight d6, bishop at g7. That was a neat little mate in 3. Because there's so many tempting checks. Bishop at c7. If you come, if you go to c8, then knight d6 straight away is checkmate. So that's the structure we're going for. So you have to come here, and then here's checkmate. The knight sealing the king off. I thought that was a cute one. And then the other one, which I thought was really cute, was a mate in 6 in this position. With the key move being this one. Let's see if there's any other approach. Knight at f4, knight at h4 are the 2 approaches. Oh, so knight at f4 apparently is even quicker. So takes and queen at f6, so you deflect the bishop. But either way, the idea is deflect that bishop, queen at g7, and here checkmate. It's really pretty. Because if you don't do that, if you just go queen at g7 straight away, then you're struggling. The king is trying to run away. You have to do moves like bishop g4 to try and cut it from running away. And then you want to put a knight here. Check. Does that even work? The king takes knight. Does knight here check work? King takes. Yeah, it's not. The king is sort of somehow getting away. So in this position, apparently f3 is the answer. So so king takes knight. This is checkmate. And if the king goes back to f4, oh, there's queen takes here, checkmate, bringing the queen in. So yeah, but you avoid all of that hassle by doing this movement. And 2 knights next to each other like this create a wall. So it's a good pattern to recognize. And this knight's protected. So if you go here, queen here's checkmate. So you have to take it. And then if you take it, then queen here check, queen here is a nice finish. So I didn't realize this was one move faster. Knight here check. If king f5, g4, and if bishop takes knight, queen here. So that was a good one too. That one, and so I mean, if I was starring, then I'd just star those 2 finishes. But at the end of the day, that's a 7-3 with that final game. that's just a cookie crumb up the board in that final game. If he comes this way, that's no good. It's the same mate. So at the end of the day, that's a nice cookie crumb to give 264brocc a 7-3 win against burpcow, and burpcow held the finisher 5-5. Burpcow's a strong player, but he's had a couple of losses in the last. Yeah, I'll have to check out the spreadsheet. But okay, so yeah, and there was a mate in 5 he missed in this game, so it was pretty unfortunate to lose that last game. Seal the king in, and then at g2. Yeah, so thanks everyone for watching. Happy Petal and PKR and IMC Jebs and Atoms of Faith and Seaflower. And it's been hopefully people can enjoy this in the morning, because it's obviously Europe is fast asleep. If there's anyone I should be raiding at 5 in the morning, then let me know who's streaming. No one I know, but if let's see if there's anyone I know. Raid channel. No one I really know. Let's give Leader Koridza a raid. And thanks everyone for watching.